Hello, everyone. So, as we know, the world is pretty unstable right now. We can all agree on that. We see in the Ukraine and Russia war. We see with Israel and Iran, and of course what's happening in Gaza, and of course in South Sudan too. There's a civil war in Myanmar too. There's a civil war in Myanmar too. And as a country too, that's a neutral country, speaking on behalf pretty much of the Irish people here. The main goal of Ireland, the main goal of our state should be peace and bringing peace to the world. In trying to do away as Christians too, of course, to try and bring some kind of peace, some kind of understanding to the world. And I think Ireland has one of the most unique places in the world to have that point. And what I mean by that is, we even look back 30 years ago in this country, there was bombings, there was shootings, there was killings during the Troubles in Northern Ireland, and some of it in Southern Ireland too. But and particularly again, obviously our history with the United Kingdom isn't the best in terms of looking back over the years, but it has improved a lot in the last 30 years, and we're the best of friends pretty much now. Ireland and England, Irish people and English people get on very well now. And of course, what I'm trying to say is, we've buried that shovel, we've buried that hatchet pretty much, and it's for the better of everybody. Because let's be honest, the Troubles in Northern Ireland, everybody would agree, it achieved nothing for nobody. It caused pain and suffering for families. Still to this day, there's people that were kidnapped back then. Their bodies have never been found. What I'm trying to say is, it achieved nothing to nobody. It caused pain and it caused suffering to, in majority time, innocent people who were caught in the crossfire. And particularly, again, as I say, Ireland and England are pretty much the best of friends now. And Ireland's position in the world, and as JFK said when he came here in 1963, before he was assassinated, that Ireland's role in the world is to bring peace. And I do feel very strongly about that Ireland's role is, and as you know yourself, Ireland's role in the United Nations peacekeeping, one of the longest serving United Nations peacekeeping nations in the world, over 60 years, from the Congo to the Middle East, and other places around the world. And a huge amount of our sons and daughters have laid down their lives in service of peace. Recently enough, Private Sean Rooney, who was killed in Lebanon, again in service of peace. And I know people would say it's a false hope, it's a false hope to believe in peace and understanding and stability in the world. But we have to try, even though we're a small country, we have to try, as Christians, of course, but as members of humanity too, to uphold peace, because again, it's such a fragile world. But again, that many people do suffer, only Joe suffer from day to day life, and conflict solves nothing. In the majority of cases, it causes more pain and suffering to everybody involved. The only people who benefit is the 1%, the military industrial complexes and etc. It's not the only Joe who benefits in any way, shape, or form. It's the elite who benefits from war and suffering. So Ireland's position is very, very clear, and I'm sure the majority of Irish people agree that we want an end to conflict. We want an end to the Ukraine-Russian war. We want an end to what's happening in the Middle East. We want an end to every conflict. And as I say, Ireland, as a neutral country too, has an obligation, in my opinion. And if I was, in position of government now, has the obligation as a neutral country that's not on any side, but the side that we are on, regardless of what country is fighting each other, or if they're fighting each other or fighting another country. Ireland's position as well is very, very simple, that we want peace. Nobody should be killed in armed conflict, because as we know from our own history, that innocent people suffer the most. And that's the thing. And Ireland's position is that we should always have try and understanding and peace and understanding and diplomacy. And obviously that's all well and good, easy say, but we haven't, as Ireland, we haven't really done much in that in the last week. We haven't passed the occupied territories bill yet, for example, because that would be means to try and leverage some kind of peace settlement in the Middle East too, because it's in action that's not causing any peace. It's pretty much the world just standing by and letting them do whatever they want, particularly in the Middle East's case. And Russia's case is a different case, and in Ukraine's case is a different case, as I say. But Ireland should have a role in, of course, and I do think Ireland should have a role in that, in trying to bring about a peace, trying to stop people being killed. Because I think that's the main thing. But anything is to stop people being killed, innocent young people being killed, children being killed especially too, to stop that pain and stuff and stop children starving. Because we owe it not to ourselves, we owe it to humanity too, to try and make the world a better place. And I know it's a false hope, I suppose, in a way, but we have to have hope, and I suppose that's what drives us as people, as individuals, that we have some kind of faith in humanity, that we have some kind of faith in ourselves, that we can live in peace and we can live in harmony. But it's about trying to proceed that. It's about trying to get it. And as I say, as a neutral country, Ireland's in a pristine condition. As I say, we suffered a lot throughout our history. We understand conflict. We understand suffering. We understand war. We understand all this. And it's important to use that to benefit of humanity now, instead of actively, uh, you know, infighting and blowing and bombings, etc., during the Troubles. We want to try and help countries get out of that and trying to stop conflict. But again, as I say, Ireland should be more proactive in trying to stop conflicts and trying to mediate talks, especially again as a neutral country. There's no benefit in any war in the Middle East or in Europe, take for example, in Ukraine. As a neutral country, we're not part of any military alliance, take for example. We have no financial benefit either to anything. We're an independent country that's on our own, pretty much. But as I say, neutrality too comes with its benefits and trying to preserve peace. And I know people would say, but it isn't the interest of Ireland to preserve peace. We have a huge, as I say, if you look at Ireland's record, we have never taken over anybody else's country. We've never colonised any other country in the world. We only have our island, and that's all we want, and that's all the Irish people want. But we still owe it to humanity as Christians, people who believe in God, that the most precious thing in life is peace, and it's human life itself. And I think we're in the modern world, we've forgotten a lot about individual, because again we hear about so many people being killed or being bombed and being shot, and all of it's pretty much, it goes over our heads. It's just numbers. The media throw out 50 people were killed, 20 people were killed. But again, it's so, we're kind of becoming immune to violence and to killings and murders and all this, and we owe it. And I think we should always remember that we are just humans, and that life is precious, and it's precious for many different reasons. We could go on for hours talking about every different reason, but again, that's just my opinion. But the majority of Irish people would agree with that Ireland's role is to bring peace in the world, as JFK said, which I do agree with. That not military, like to go in with guns and stop it, but by diplomatically, as a neutral country, as a voice, we owe it to the world, I suppose, too, to do it. I do think we should be more proactive in terms of stopping conflicts. Because as I say, we're a perfect solution. If we were a NATO country or we were on a military alliance, we would have conflicts of interest. Let's put it that way. But as a neutral country, we have no conflicts of interest. And I do think that's important. But yeah, let me know what you think. Subscribe and bye.